声くらい誰だって変えられるわよ。パパにおねだりの時は甘い声、学校休む時は風邪っぽい声、実は嫌いな友達に断る時は申し訳なさそうな声。
お望みなら
Oh, hello there.
どんな声でも
使い分けて。
見せるけど。
あんた魔女やめたら声優になるといいわ。
No kidding. Or, like I said, a VTuber. Just straight up commentate video games and do live streams and such. Like, if you do the ara ara voice in front of your viewers, you'd basically be swimming in money at that point. Ara ara. ちょっとごめんな、ラマダデルタ。お前はもう死んでいる。
これでお互いコマの準備は OK かしら。フルドエリカ、なかなか素敵なコマじゃない。エンジェなんかよりはるかにベルにふさわしいコマだわ。
I have come to rape your minds, bitches. Erica.
お褒めに預かりまして光栄です、ラムダデルタ卿。
こちらこそよろしくよ。素敵だわ。本当に可愛い。魔女幻想に屈服させて、その顔を屈辱に歪めてやりたいわ。
だそうよ。私に恥をかかせないでよね。エンジェよりはるかに使える駒だってことを見せてちょうだい。お任せを。ベルンカステル卿、我が主。
Master. Oh, she is Burns Peace, but at the same time, I didn't imagine someone like her following anyone in the first place.
私はあのようなネクラで低能で可愛げのかけらもない駒とは違います。
本当よね。エンジェなんてクズ肉になってバトラを焚きつける以外何の役にも立たなかったわ。家族愛とか兄弟愛とか私たちは全然興味ないの。私たちが見たいゲームはもっとえぐくてドロドロしててグロテスクでポップでキュートな殺人事件だもの。
With gruesome twists and turns and chunks of meat flying around and people falling off of cliffs. Subarashii! Still waiting on you guys to bring in a Ferris wheel and a roller coaster on the island.
夏日がキングでベアトがクイーンってとこかしら。夏日をかばって群がる魔女と家具たちはチェスの駒というよりは
ボーリングのピンって感じ。夏日にベアと金蔵にガラクタ家具の幻想たち、私たちを楽しませてみせなさいよね。特にベアと私たちもうあんたには飽きてるの。あんたの魔女伝説殺人ごっこはもうおしまい。あんたの出番もおしまいってわけ。このゲーム版はもう私とベルンがいただいたわ。あんたなんて私たちの駒に落ちぶれて永遠に遊ばれてるのがお似合いよ。
夏日もベアトも薄汚い真実という腹渡を薄皮一枚で包んだだけのズタ袋だわ。それをズタズタに引き裂いて中身を引きずり出すことこそ私の、いいえ、私たちの数少ない娯楽なの。
楽しく遊べるわよ。ねえ見てる？ベアトリーチェ、あんたのゲーム版はこんなにも楽しく遊べるのよ。私が見せてあげるわ。本当に楽しい第5のゲームをね。
私たちばっかり気持ちよく喋っちゃかわいそうだわ。ベアトにも喋らせてあげたら。
特別に発言を許すわ。今回のゲームの抱負でも言っちゃったら。何もないって。そうよねそうよね。あんたバトルに屈しちゃった負け犬だもんね。
Hey, not cool, yo. Not cool. Don't be kicking people who are already on the ground. For such gruesome witches such as yourself, it is a pretty lame move.
私に任せなさい。魔女側優勢に一気に流れを変えてあげるから。ただあんたという駒はサクリファイスさせてもらっちゃうけどね。
碑文も第一の番以前にあっさり解かれ、黄金の番人ベアトリーチェも型なしですね。夏日の幻想として駒に残れてよかったじゃない。もうあんたの扱いは駒じゃなくてピンなんだけどね。
黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェなんてもう出番はないのよ。あんたとその家具たちは私のゲームではほんのちょい役やられ役。気持ちよくすっ飛ばされて私とベルのおもちゃにされなさいよ。
嫌ならやめてって一言言ってみて。そしたらやめてあげるから。
嫌じゃないってあんたピン確定ね。
There's no need for Golden Witch anymore. All that's needed is a sacrificial dose so that we two witches can enjoy some time playing. Die, disappear. Confess to your filthy past and your crimes. Pour out your soap story of regret and repentance as you throw yourself off a cliff and die. This will be a most horrible game. On the surface, it does look very similar to the usual tales. However, there is no respect given to the true main character of this tale. It is indeed a low move. Such disrespect. Are you really gonna take that, Beatrice? This is supposed to be the tale to which the Golden Witch Beatrice invited Ushumi Ballard. However, the host has been lost, and there is no longer a guest. We both inviter and invitee now gone. Only the worst kind of tale remains. Welcome to the 5th game. End of the Golden Witch. Welcome to a party with neither host nor guests, hijacked by wicked witches.
いいバトラー。いよいよ2日目を始めるわよ。私はベアトみたいにとろい展開は嫌いなんだから。
好きにしやがれ。お前が何をかき回そうと、俺は必ずこのゲームの真相にたどり着いてやる。
Well then, you better be prepared, Batora. More prepared than you have ever been before. As much as this game strayed from its original roots, this is still a game between you and Beatrice, so you better hop to it.
そうでなくては困ります。妹さんのためにもしっかり戦わなくちゃ。ご安心を。ラムダデルタ卿はベアトリーチェの間抜けと違い、はるかに恐ろしい相手ですが、私がしっかりサポートするので問題ありません。私と一緒に 今度こそ魔女幻想を暴いてやろうではありませんか。
お前なんか知らねえ。ベアとのゲームにいなかった存在など俺は認めもしないし必要ともしない。
I mean, it really should not be a surprise, Erika. You aren't really winning any points in Balor's eyes, when you're basically acting as a subordinate for the Voyagers. We are indeed sort of going on a similar path, but our goals are not aligning whatsoever. So, I'll be wishing you the best, but just saying, don't underestimate your opposition. Detective of the 5th game.
強がり言ってる場合ですか。まあお互いせいぜい頑張りましょう。一緒に魔女幻想とやらを引き裂いてやりましょう。
Erika brazenly put her hand out for me to shake. Instead of just passively ignoring this, I gave her an active and clear answer by knocking her hand aside.
握手は嫌いだそうよ。エンジェと同じなのね。ご安心を。私はエンジェよりはるかに役立つ駒ですので。バトラさんの闘志を回復する以外何もできなかったひき肉とはわけが違います。
頼もしそうな仲間に恵まれて嬉しいわね。かつてはワルギリアにロの上、エンジェまで来てくれたわ。そしてとうとうベルにエリカまで。あんたを応援してくれる駒たちはこんなにもたくさん。それでも未だに真相の尻尾すらつかめない無能っぷりってどんな気持ち？どんな気持ち？
関係ねえな。これは俺とベアとの戦いだ。その他の誰であろうと関係ねえ。
ああ、そうなの。やっと独り立ち。いっつも誰かに助けられ情けをかけられてばかりのあんたがどこまで一人でできるやら。楽しませてもらうわ。
取り戻すぜ。これは俺たちのゲームだ。お前たちはお呼びじゃね
え。ええ、そうよね。これはあなたたちのゲームだわ。なら取り戻してごらんなさいよ。手加減だらけだったベアとのゲームさえ勝てなかったあんたが誰の助けもなく一切の容赦のないラムダのゲームをどこまで戦えるのか。
ではお目覚めなさい、後ろ宮バトラー。ようこそ10月5日の朝へ。
Let the twilights begin again! Was it someone's alarm clock? A repetitive electronic beeping noise filled the room. Beller, who had gone to bed late and hadn't had anywhere near enough sleep yet, covered his head in his blanket and waited for someone to turn off the alarm. But no matter how much time passed, the beeping didn't stop. I see. The point of an alarm clock isn't just to be loud enough to wake you, but to be annoying enough to keep you from wanting to fall back asleep. Hey, guys, the alarm's going off. Make it stop, please. Why do we always sound so annoyed when we're first waking up? Oh, yeah, it does make sense. After all, we are still sleepy and in a bad mood. However, there was absolutely no sign that my annoyed voice had caused anyone to turn over in their sleep. Much less crawl out of bed to stop the alarm. Letting out a deep sigh, I flung the covers off and got up. With the shutters down on the windows, there was almost no light getting in. The room was as dim as it had been earlier. Though, even if the shutters hadn't been down, there's no way that this dull weather would have let in enough sun to make this a pleasant morning. My cousins were still wrapped up in their beds, sound asleep and taking no notice whatsoever of that beeping. Normally, once any one person gets up, the others tend to automatically fall. Sheesh. They must be some heavy sleepers. Like, they must have partied like all night, drinking juices and dancing and all that stuff, while Battler was assaulted by the adults left and right for finding the gold and such. I mean, last time before I went to bed, I was still drinking booze, like on the first floor of the guest house. I think that Erica was there too. Like, you have no idea how much dirt I got out of her while she was tipsy. Annoyed by that the law of consecutive summer camp awakenings that I come up with had just been broken, I justly searched for the source of the sound. I could hear it coming from a wristwatch sitting on a table. Judging by the style of the watch, it was probably a Giorgiani keys. Taking a random guess, I pushed a small button on the side of it, and the sound stopped. Apparently, it had been set for 7 in the morning. Is it already 7? Sorry, but I really don't feel like I slept at all. Playing cards had been left on the table as though they had stopped mid-game. The game looked like 7s. Damn it. I got a piercing headache. What the hell was all that last night? That mountain of gold and the subsequent argument between our parents. It all feels like a bad dream. Oh, hold on. So that was just a dream? Us finding the Golden City? And the Golden Bell? And Kraus going to the moon with his flying ship? That, or we are still dreaming even to this point, and we're gonna continue to dream for a really long time. After all, people's dreams never die. Breakfast normally starts at 8. No, it isn't a bad time to start getting up and getting dressed. The adults probably won't argue in front of us cousins. In that case, I think I'll stay with my cousins all day long. Surely they'll be able to keep me away from all that annoying talk about the gold and being the successor and all. In fact, I should have done that in the first place. I slept with my clothes on last night too, so I'm drenched in sweat. Gross. I guess I'll take a shower. I'm sure the others want to too. At this age, it's embarrassing to wake them by shaking their shoulders. If I turn the TV, everyone will probably wake up. No, let's at least turn the lights on for now. In this dim light, with the quiet sound of the continuing wind and rain, it really doesn't feel like morning's coming yet. I flipped the light switch. And then, that dimly lit morning ended. I guess so. It would seem that George is going to be sleeping for longer than usual, as they clung to Aniki's corpse, knowing that he would never wake up again. Auntie Eva no Hideyoshi cried.
もうおよしなさい。ジョージ君がこんな姿をお二人に見せたいと思いますか。思うわけがない。
姉貴、気持ちはわかるが、今は南條先生に任せるんだ。
あんたにはわかんないわよ。ジョージが殺されたのよ。ジョージジョージ
南條先生の言う通りや。ジョージのこんな無体な姿をいつまでも見ていたらあかん。ジョージのためにも今は耐えるんや。
When Auntie Eva tried even harder to cling to that corpse, Dad Onoko Hideyoshi dragged her away and had a heated debate with her bedside. Dad and Uncle Hideyoshi dragged her away and had a heated debate with her beside the wall.
いやよ、いやジョージ南條先生、手当てをして。血が足りないなら輸血を。私とジョージは同じ血液型です。だからお願い、南條先生。
エヴァさん、お気の毒だが、今のジョージ君に必要なのはあなたの血ではないのです。
Dr. Nanjo shook his head slowly, then nodded across to where I stood. I softly pulled the blanket up and covered George Aniki's body. His throat had been split wide open, and the wound was probably larger and deeper than his mouth. Did it look like a clean and neat corpse now that his neck was at least covered? Of course not. The large amount of blood that had spilled from the wound stained the bed a horrible dark red. And even covering him with the blanket couldn't hide the blood that had poured out. After all, there were large dark red stains on the blanket too. So that even once he was covered with it, the gruesomeness of the body was still being thrust in our faces. So I stripped the blankets off of my bed and placed on top. But I only had 2 blankets. So if I covered just one more body, I wouldn't be able to cover any more. Feeling pity for the ones I couldn't cover. For some reason, in spite of the situation, I muttered, "Don't complain about not getting the same as everyone else," inside my head.
キリエ、みんなに毛布をかけてやれ。風邪をひいちまう。
ええ。
KS and I covered the other bodies with our blankets in the same way as George Aniki's, so that they wouldn't have to suffer the indignity of having their terrible wounds exposed like this anymore. In one bed rested Jessica. And Jessica was exactly the same as George Aniki, though she appeared to be resting quietly in the bed. Her throat had been sliced deep and the wound lay open in a brutal way. And Maria was the same. Not only Maria, there was one more victim. Lying on the same bed, sleeping alongside her, was Auntie Rosa. George Aniki, Jessica, Maria, and Auntie Rosa. Her neck sliced open by a sharp blade. The wound was deep enough that anyone could easily confirm her death with absolute certainty. Alright. In this room were 4 people who had been killed, their throats sliced open. They'd probably been like that since last night. And they came back to the room completely ignorant, snuggled under the covers, and fell asleep right next to them. Yeah, you know, I was thinking about this. Like, I could say that death happened after Beller came back over here and went to sleep. Like, somewhere between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m., but it could very well have been possible that Beller just went to sleep without looking around, completely in the dark. He didn't even turn on the switch, and he didn't even change clothes. And as he said, he woke up with the same clothes and he was drenched in sweat and such. So, yeah, he could have just went to sleep without being aware that his cousins died. All of them had a horizontal cut across their throats. And I had been forced to see all the way into the depths of those gashes in everyone's throat. Those cuts might even have reached as far as halfway into their necks. If you try to open one up, you'll probably be able to see that the gash reached all the way to the bone. The only wounds were the single gash on each neck. So if you just cover their necks with your hands, you might be able to persuade yourself that they were merely sleeping. Even so, this frighteningly deep wound was incredibly gruesome. There's no such thing as clean or dirty ways of killing. All methods of killing are equally brutal. But even so, this was incredibly brutal. And there was one more thing which adorned these brutal murders to make them even more stunning. Drawn very large on the wall was something like an eerie magic circle. It was drawn in a bright red paint which looked like blood, making it look as though some disturbing ritual had taken place in this room, with the four of them offered as human sacrifices. However, none of us were paying it any attention. No one has a heart so cold that they could witness the deaths of those close to them, and still worry about some graffiti on the wall. Well, I was gonna ask myself if there is any special writing on graffiti and such. Does this mean that I have a cold heart? Huh? Morning, Erica. Did you have a nice sleep? Did you dream well? Yeah, you noticed that too, right? Yeah, that is indeed a pretty magic circle. Am I right? The girl who bragged that she drew more pleasure from the process of exposing the truth than from the truth itself. And who went so far as to call herself an intellectual rapist, appeared in the hall. When she saw the extraordinarily creepy magic circle in this gruesome room, I heard what was unexpectedly a sigh of admiration escape her lips.
お前は入ってくるんじゃねえ。
さっきから廊下で話を聞かせてもらっています。お亡くなりになられたのは4人ですか？
Indeed.
心よりお悔やみを申し上げます。
Narika's face. No, that's not it. It was in her eyes. In Narika's eyes, I could see a shameless smile that was hard to describe. Yeah, I bet that you feel pleasure in seeing Jessica this way. That she's dead and all that. I mean, you did say that you wanted to see granted, you did want to see Jessica's face when she finds out that you and Beller found the gold and such, and Natsuki and Kraus were put in a tough spot because of it. That you wanted to see Jessica's face when all this happens. I mean, you're no longer going to be able to see that face, but, well, at least you yourself are seeing the next best thing, am I right? She found this entertaining. She found the outbreak of crime entertaining. It was like the smile of a kid waiting in the wings at the school play. moments before she was due to come on stage.
すまねえな、エリカちゃん。取り込み中だ。部屋で待っててくれるか。
そういうわけには参りません。現場検証は探偵の権利ですので。
Alright, it is the detective's right to investigate. You are indeed the detective of all this. In which case, come on in, princess. Investigate the crime scene. To your heart's content.
お前に用はないと言ってんだぜ。部外者はおとなしく引っ込んでろ。
現場検証を妨害する容疑者が犯人であるミステリーは三流というのが私の持論ですが。
お前の都合など知るか。出ていけ。お前なんかお呼びじゃね
エリカちゃん、ほんまにすまんが部屋に戻っててくれんか。今は取り込み中なんや。
ジョージ、ジョージ。
どいてください。現場検証できません。
え。もしそれが必要なら俺たちがするし、警察がする。お前にみんなの亡骸をさらに恥ずかしめる権利なんかあるわけがねえ。
It's not like there's much of a choice, Bella. She's gonna do whatever she wants, so might as well do it. Let's make sure to keep an eye on her as well.
探偵権限。
Nope.
探偵は全ての現場を検証する権利を持つ。そこをどきなさい、後宮バトラー。これは人間側に認められたゲームの正当な権利よ。
Those words, which seemed to be utterly ridiculous at first, were words of power that come from a world which was much higher than theirs. Huh. Yeah, when you think about it, it is pretty interesting. It could be that I'm forgetting after all these games, after such a long time, but this very well could be that it is the first time that a human, a game piece, is giving a red truth, like inside the game board, and not on a higher plane as such, because this is Erica, the game piece, not Erica on the higher plane, on the meta-narrative plane, so it is interesting. Like, it goes, like it contradicts what Ronoi was thinking in the last part and such. Bella was thrown back by an unseen power and landed on his butt. Struck silent by Erica's quiet intensity and their bizarre, suffocating atmosphere, and nobody was able to prevent her from entering the room.
ご安心を。死者の尊厳を犯すことが目的ではありませんので、別に喉の切り口なんておぞましいもの覗きたくありませんし、私が知りたいのはもっと別のことです。つまりこの殺人を誰が行ったかです。南條先生、それから皆さん、特に第一発見者のバトラさん、いろいろとお尋ねしたいことがありますので、ご協力をお願いします。
だから何の権限があってだよ。
私が探偵だからよ。
Bella couldn't argue against this incomprehensible nonsense. No, he wasn't permitted to argue. It was a restriction, placed on pieces. Erika summoned Dr. Nanjud and got him to tell her in detail about his preliminary findings. Normally, he wouldn't have spoken of that to an outsider so casually. However, for some reason, the atmosphere about the place had begun to make it feel as though nothing should be hidden from Erika. I mean, Nanjo is also Ben Costello's piece, so They're basically gonna do whatever a.k.a. wants. Because that is what Ben Costello wants as well.
さて、ラムダの第一の番、楽しませてもらおうかしら。死体は4つ ?2 つ足りないわ。まあ、6人殺す義務もないわけだけど、そういう遊びだしね。あの子、空気読める子だから、あと2人もどこかで殺してるに違いないわ。
There's a magic circle on the wall representing the first Twilight, similar to the ones in Battle's games. That girl talks big, but I wonder just how closely she can imitate Baton. Your Hebrew sure is crappy, Lambda. You got this part slightly wrong. Hmm?
何これ？どういうこと？どうして魔法陣が？
きっとベアトリーチェ様の真似がしたかったのよ。へったくそな魔法陣。
真似どころじゃないわよ。人間の誰かがベアトリーチェ様の仕業に見せかけるためにわざわざ書いたんだわ。とにかくベアトリーチェ様に報告を。
ゴールドスミスの秘密を守る仕事だけでもお腹いっぱいなのに迷惑な話ね。
でも全然美しくない殺人だわ。別に密室でもないし不可能犯罪でもない。こんな無様な殺人ベアトリーチェ様に全然ふさわしくないわ。
フルドエリカか。予期せぬ事件に予期せぬ女、そして19年前の予期せぬ男。気分はバトラーに解かれるし、今回のゲームは普段とまるで違うわ。何がどうなってるの？行くわよ。
はい、お姉様。
In the kitchen, Goda was preparing a wonderful breakfast at a brisk pace. The main dish would be her omelette. Even simple foods could become an invigorating feast under Goda's skillful hands. He was planning to complete all the other preparations for the meal here beforehand, and then cook their individual omelets fresh before their eyes in the dining room, serving them up one by one. Oh, what a wonderful day for Goda. Another day for him to showcase his wonderful, wonderful skills as a servant in front of the family. Maybe even after this family conference, he's gonna get a raise from Kinzo and such. Oh, what a wonderful time. Goda hummed as he continued his preparations in high spirits. When Shannon, who was helping out, saw Goda like this, her mood also brightened. She arranged the salad in a neat little pattern and showed it to Goda.
こんな感じでどうでしょう。トマトの感じがちょっと可愛くなったと思います。
実に良いですよ。シャノンさんもなかなか分かってまいりましたね。
The two happy people gave each other a high five. Sean didn't like Goda when he was sneaking, but she had no problems at all with him when he was cooking happily. She sometimes even thought it would have been nice if his contract hadn't included any jobs besides cooking.